I came home from work on a stormy night to find my daughter soaking wet and feverish at the door. She said, "Dad kicked me out." My husband inside asked, "Where is she?" I replied, "She just took her last breath." His face turned pale, leading to a shocking end. I'm Amelia, 34, working as a project manager in Manhattan. After my husband Greg quit his $85,000 engineering job 8 months ago to find himself, I became the sole provider for our family. Our daughter Zoe just turned 9 last month. Greg's transformation happened gradually. First, he stopped helping with Zoe's homework. Then he started sleeping until noon. By month 3, he was glued to his phone 24/7, always angling the screen away when I walked by. That Monday morning started normal enough. Zoe came to the kitchen holding her throat. "Mom, it really hurts." I felt her forehead, warm but not burning. "Greg, can you take her to the pediatrician if it gets worse? I have the Crestview presentation at 10. He barely looked up from his phone. "Yeah, sure." I kissed Zoe's forehead and left for the 7:15 train. The presentation went well, but something felt off all morning. Mother's intuition, maybe. At 2:17 p.m., my phone lit up. Zoe's school. My stomach dropped. "Mrs. Walker, Zoe never arrived for attendance this morning. We've been trying to reach your husband for hours." I called Greg 6 times, straight to voicemail. I grabbed my coat, told my boss it was an emergency, and ran. The storm started around 3:30. By the time I reached the Holland Tunnel, rain was coming down in sheets. Thunder cracked overhead. Every red light felt like an eternity. I kept calling Greg. Nothing. I called our neighbor, Mrs. Harlow. She hadn't seen Zoe all day. The drive that normally takes 45 minutes took 2 hours. Streets were flooding. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the wheel. I pulled onto our street at 6:47 p.m. The house was dark, except for one light upstairs, our bedroom. As I ran toward the front door, I saw something that made my heart stop. Zoe was sitting on our front porch steps, soaking wet, her school uniform clinging to her small frame. She was shaking uncontrollably. "Baby!" I screamed, running to her. Her skin was burning up. Her lips had a blue tinge. When she looked at me, her eyes were unfocused. "Daddy locked me out," she whispered, teeth chattering. I knocked and knocked. He said I was faking sick to ruin his plans. He said his friend was coming over and I needed to go to school. "How long have you been out here?" Since breakfast. I tried to go to school, but I felt dizzy. I came back, but the door was locked. My daughter had been sitting in a thunderstorm with a fever for nearly 10 hours. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and dialed 911. "My daughter has severe hypothermia and a high fever. She's been outside for hours." I tried the door. Locked from inside. I pounded on it with both fists. "David, open this door!" Nothing. I heard laughter from inside. Female laughter. The paramedics arrived in 8 minutes. As they wrapped Zoe in thermal blankets and started taking vitals, the front door finally opened. Greg stood there, hair messy, wearing only sweatpants. Behind him, I saw a woman I didn't recognize. Mid-20s, adjusting her shirt, holding her shoes. "Oh, you're home," he said casually, like I just returned from grocery shopping. "Where's Zoe? School should be. Where is she?" His eyes finally landed on the ambulance, the paramedics, our daughter on a stretcher. I stepped closer to him, close enough that only he could hear me. The woman behind him was frozen in the doorway. She just took her last breath. The color drained from his face completely. His knees buckled. The woman behind him let out a small scream. "What? No. No, no, no. Emma!" He tried to run toward the ambulance, but I blocked him. "Don't you dare touch her." The lead paramedic looked at me. "She's stable. Temp is 104, but she's responsive. We need to transport now." Greg collapsed on our front lawn, sobbing. The woman had disappeared back inside. As the ambulance pulled away with me and Zoe inside, I watched 2 police cars pull up to our house through the back window. Our neighbor, Mrs. Harlow, had called them after hearing the commotion. Zoe squeezed my hand. "Is Daddy crying?" "Yes, baby." "Good." At the hospital, they put her on IV fluids and antibiotics. The doctor said another hour outside could have been fatal. Watching Greg get arrested for child endangerment through the ER window, watching him think for those 30 seconds that he'd killed his own daughter, that was worth every single second of his panic.